Hey, how's it going, everybody? Just going to give our review of week 2 of the NFL season. And let's start things off in Indianapolis, where the Colts bounced back with a 28-11 win over the Minnesota Vikings. Philip Rivers was 19 of 25, 214 yards on 1 touchdown, and Minnesota's Kirk Cousins had possibly one of his worst games of his career. 11 of 26, no touchdowns, 3 picks, and only 113 yards passing. Um, the Vikings could do nothing right yesterday. Dalvin Cook could not get going. Um, Bad day to be in Minnesota or to be a Viking fan. Uh, I really thought they struggled because of how good the Packers played. I thought, you know, maybe they just couldn't get going, get Cook in the running game going because of how far they fell behind early to the Packers. Um, I don't think that's the case anymore. I think there's real problems in Minnesota, and they're going to have to fix them fast, or it's going to be a long, dreadful season. All right, and we moved to the desert where we had a surprising pair of 1-0 teams as the Arizona Cardinals moved to 2-0 as they beat the Washington football team 30-15. Kyler Murray looking spectacular again, going 26 of 38 for 286 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 pick. He did have 67 yards rushing on the ground and 2 touchdowns. And the Houston Texans had their home opener, and it did not go as well as their road opener either. As the Baltimore Ravens came in, and Lamar Jackson and company just pretty much handled the Texans whichever way they wanted to. Lamar Jackson was 18 of 24, 204 yards, and 2 touchdowns, as Baltimore beat Houston 33-16. The Texans just really struggling, which they have opened up with the two best teams in the AFC, the defending Super Bowl champs, Kansas City, and then the defending team who finished with the best regular season record last year. So kind of give them a little leeway on that, but if Houston plans on competing in the South, they better figure something out quick. Deshaun Watson has not looked near as sharp as he has in the past. And maybe DeAndre Hopkins being gone might be hurting them a lot more than originally thought. There's still weapons, still good weapons there in Houston. But they're going to have to figure out something fast. Houston's 0-2. And there's not a lot of breaks in their schedule either. Some people have said Houston could be 1-5. I've heard projection is it being that bad for Houston. I don't quite agree with that, but they better get on the ball quick, or they very well could be. Pittsburgh Steelers go to 2-0 as they beat the Denver Broncos 26-21. Big Ben goes 29 of 41 for 2 touchdowns, and he did have 1 pick. The San Francisco 49ers got their first win of the year as they trounced the New York Jets 31-13. They won the game, but they did suffer some injuries. Jimmy Garoppolo went 14 of 16, 131 yards, and 2 touchdowns before getting knocked out with a high ankle sprain. There's no telling. They're saying between 2 to 6 weeks is how long he could be out. With a high ankle sprain, you never really know. There are certain procedures that help speed it up. All depends on the player and how fast of a healer he is. They also lost Bosa. So the Niners, they won and dominated the game, but it was costly. And the Tennessee Titans advanced to 2-0 as they beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 33-30 on a last-second field goal. Derrick Henry had a relatively quiet day for him as he only had 84 yards rushing. But the real story of the day was Ryan Tannehill and Gardner Minshew. Minshew in the loss was 30 of 45. I think he had 339 yards, 3 touchdowns, but he did have 2 costly turnovers. Ryan Tannehill on the other hand, played mistake-free football as he was 18 for 24, 239 yards, and 4 touchdowns in the win. The Titans moved to 2-0. They had the Jaguars, I believe, 31-14 before letting the Jags get back in the game, or 30 to 14, excuse me, before letting the Jaguars come back and tie it up. And either way, Titans kicked the game winner and moved to 2-0, and they get the win 33-30 over the Jacksonville Jaguars. And it was the Los Angeles Chargers' turn to play in that beautiful stadium. And they opened it up against the Kansas City Chiefs, and they did not disappoint as their rookie Justin Herbert made his first start as a Los Angeles Charger and got a performance out of him not many people expected. Young boy showed up to play, and he showed up slinging that ball. And he went toe-to-toe with Pat Mahomes and just come up short in overtime, 23-20. And they pretty much had the lead on the Chiefs the whole day. Hats off to the Chargers defense. They frustrated Mahomes. Really looked like they had the Chiefs offense uncomfortable, but couldn't make the stops when they counted most. Not to feel bad, most people don't against Pat Mahomes in that defense. In that offense. Some of the throw Mahomes made, just incredible as always. But still, Herbert had a rookie debut most quarterbacks would kill for. 22 of 33, 311 yards and 1 touchdown. Just looked really solid. He was really accurate, which was something that kind of plagued him at Oregon. He had some games where, the kid was very accurate, and then some games he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. So we'll see if he's kind of got that under control, or is that going to be something that plagues him in the future. He had a decent game against Kansas City. A great game for a rookie debut, but can he carry that forward in the future? Pat Mahomes had a off day. I think he was 27 of 47. But still, Pat Mahomes doing his thing, getting the win, leading the Chiefs back to tie the game at 20, sending it into overtime, and then, of course, getting the ball back and driving down and hitting the game-winning field goal in OT, 23-20. And Tom Brady and the Bucs bounced back after their loss to the New Orleans Saints last week, getting the win 31-17 over the Carolina Panthers. Tampa Bay would jump out early, 21-0 on Carolina. After a Teddy Bridgewater interception and just a couple of nice drives by Tampa. They would kind of coast, and then they wouldn't put the game away, though. Brady would throw a costly interception when they had a chance to put some real distance between them and Carolina. They wouldn't come away with it. And Carolina would find a way to get back in, and they would end up cutting it to 24-17 late in the game. Tampa was trying to run the clock out. Carolina was trying to stop them, get the ball back with a chance to tie it. And Leonard Fournette broke loose on a long run, I think a 48-yarder for the score to put it out of reach as Tampa Bay gets the win 31-17 in Tom Brady's home debut in Tampa. So the Bucks looked better. They've still got a lot to work on, a lot to get better at. Brady's got to, got to fix some of them mental mistakes, which, you've never really seen Tom Brady, or I guess you never noticed Tom Brady making mistakes like this in New England. But either way, the talent he's got around him, I think the more they get familiar, the more they play together, the better this offense is going to look. And the defense is just top of the line. I mean, they gave up some yards to Teddy Bridgewater, but for the most part, they had their way with the Carolina offense. The only reason Carolina was in the game was that the offense kind of sputtered out for Tampa Bay after the quick start. But other than that, Tampa should be fine, but they still have work to do, and improvements need to be made. But as long as they keep working and improving Tampa's goals, everything is still right in front of them. The bad news for Carolina is that Christian McCaffrey did leave the game with an injury and did not return, so we will wait and see what happens with that. But Tampa Bay moves to 1-1. Carolina falls to 0-2 as Tampa Bay beats Carolina 31-17. And in what was a surprising close game, at least it was shocking to me, the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo went to Miami, and the Dolphins gave them everything they wanted and more. Ryan Fitzpatrick played a much better game and looked a lot better than he did against New England last week. Almost the complete opposite. Still, a couple. All right, and the Chicago Bears get off to a 2-0 start as they win in dramatic fashion again. As they hold on to beat the Giants 17-13 as they stop New York at the 10-yard line to end the game. The Bears were up 17-3 before letting the Giants get back into the game. But nevertheless, the Bears do hang on. Mitch Trubisky had another so-so game. He was 18-28. He had 2 touchdowns and 2 picks. Bad news for the Giants, though. Saquon Barkley, they fear, may be out for the year. Just poor guy can't catch a break. He was injured a lot last year on that ankle, and they were really hoping for him and Daniel Jones to create some chemistry together. But this is going to force Daniel Jones to grow up and grow without him and grow without that safety net back there. So maybe it'll help Jones grow up faster. But still, you hate to have to deal without a weapon like Barkley. He's a truly special player, and the Giants are definitely going to hurt without him. But the Bears move to 2-0, and the Giants fall to 0-2. Bears win 17-13. The Los Angeles Rams went to Philadelphia and just slacked the Philadelphia Eagles 37-19. This Rams team looks like a team on redemption. They want to prove to everybody that 2018 team was not a fluke, that it was last year's team was the fluke, that they're better than that. Last year was just an off year, and they're out to prove it. They beat the Cowboys, and now going on the road and beating the Eagles, dominating the Eagles, 37-19. Jared Goff, 20-27, 267 yards and 3 touchdowns. Goff probably looking the best he's had since being in the league. But between Goff's reemergence and the running game's reemergence, this group of receivers, And the Rams defense, you could see them, especially with the injury to Jimmy G and the problems with the Niners. It could definitely be a Rams Seattle race for the West. Not to discount Kyler Murray and the Cards, but the Seahawks and the Rams are just the two more proven teams. Uh, Although right now I'm leaning a little bit more towards Russ and the Seahawks. But still, hats off to the LA Rams. They've really looked good these first 2 weeks, and Goff has really turned it around and looked very impressive. And what they did to Philly, um, they look like a real contender again this year. And it looks like 2019 was the fluke, not 2018. As the Rams get the win, 37-19 over the Eagles. And for the second week in a row, Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers dominate a division rival as Green Bay just blasts Detroit 42-21. Detroit actually jumped out to a 14-3 lead on the Pack, and then A-Rod and the Pack never looked back, as Rodgers would go 18 of 30, 244 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He did have a pick, and Green Bay running back Aaron Jones would have 18 carries, 168 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And poor Detroit became the first team in NFL history to lose double-digit leads in 4 consecutive games and lose those games 4 consecutive times. So, making history in Detroit, just the wrong kind of history. Oops. And the Tennessee Titans had their home opener, and they took on Gardner Minshew and the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we actually had a little bit of a shootout between Ryan Tannehill and Gardner Minshew. And the Titans would hang on to get the victory, 33-30, as I believe Ryan Suckup would hit the game, or Carlson would kick the game-winning kick as the Tennessee Titans went to 2-0 on the year. But Derrick Henry, he only had 84 yards, but Tannehill made the difference, going 18 of 24, 239 yards, and 4 touchdowns. In the loss, Gardner Minshew was 30 of 45, 339 yards, 3 touchdowns, but he did throw 2 picks. Not quite as sharp as his 19 of 20 and 3 touchdowns he had last week in the win over the Colts, but still a good game out of Gardner Minshew. And the Jags come up just short against the Titans, but still hanging in there, playing them tough. Really going to have to be a battle between them and the Texans right now for second place, and who's going to contend for the Titans maybe later on in the year. But Tennessee, so far, off to a good start, 2-0 in the league. And in a game that I was really not expecting to be close, but definitely was, Buffalo went to Miami and got more than they asked for. Miami looked a lot better at home, played a lot tougher, and really showed Buffalo, hey, you still got to respect us. You may be better, but still got to show up against us. And Miami proved that. Ryan Fitzpatrick looked a lot better this week. 328 yards, 2 touchdowns, compared to last week where he only had 190 yards passing and 0 touchdowns. Now, the game was 31-20. Miami did score late and get a 2-point conversion to cut it to 3. And obviously, they didn't recover the onside kick. But still, the game was tough. It was not easy for Buffalo. But Josh Allen, just unbelievable. This guy just gets better and better and better. After he throws his first career 300-yard game, well, he follows that up with his first career 400-yard game. Josh Allen, 24-35, 417 yards, 4 touchdowns. The way this kid's playing, MVP, anybody? I mean, what else can you say if he keeps putting up numbers like this? Stephon Diggs, Allen to Diggs might be a new thing. I know it's the favorite saying in Buffalo right now, but Buffalo looks good. They're 2-0, and you know you got to be, if you're Bills Mafia, you got to be thrilled with this. A little bit closer than they probably would have liked, but hey, without the late touchdown, it's a double-digit win. It is what it is, but Buffalo moves to 2-0, and they're 2-0 in the AFC East, and Miami falls to 0-2. Alright, and then last night on Sunday Night Football, we had the Seattle Seahawks and Russell Wilson versus Cam Newton and the New England Patriots. And that was another good one. We had some great football yesterday. And we ended it on a great one too. As Russell Wilson, first drive of the game, throws a pass, tipped up there, intercepted. Patriots run it back for a touchdown, 7-0 lead. And after that, it was bombs away for the Seahawks as Russell Wilson just light them up. He would go 21, 28, 288 yards for 5 touchdowns. Cam Newton played probably the best I've seen him since 2015. During his MVP campaign, he goes 30 for 44, 397 yards, only 1 touchdown through the air, but he did add 2 on the ground along with 47 yards rushing. It was back and forth. It kind of looked like Seattle was pulling away late in the game. They took a 35-23 lead, but Cam Newton refused to lay down. He drove down, cut it to 5. At 35-30. New England ends up holding. They get the ball back, drive all the way down to the 1-yard line. There's time for one play, and karma got the Patriots in this one. Last time on the final play, well, not the final play, but last time in this situation, the Patriots got it. This time, the Seahawks made the stop. As Cam took it off tackle to the left, and the Seahawks just stuffed him, and they win on the final play of the game with a goal line stand, and Seattle hangs on to win 35-30. But just a great Sunday night game, and a great way to end Sunday's games. I know we got Monday Night Football, but really a bunch of great games on Sunday, and this wasn't the best one. It might have been the second best one, but still, Russell Wilson, Cam Newton, 2 of the best that are doing it right now. Glad to see Cam get a resurgence in his career. I think things had got kind of stale for him in Carolina. He needed a fresh start, and I'm glad to see it. Couldn't ask for a better coach to provide it than Bill Belichick. So I think their yin and yang personalities are clicking very nice. You've got an offensive genius in Josh McDaniel. So it's good to see. And then what can you say about Russell Wilson? Just the boss. I mean, that dude, awesome. So either way, 35-30, Seahawks get the win on Sunday Night Football. And we haven't played the Monday night game yet with Las Vegas versus New Orleans, but it's hard pressed to think that they'll top this one. Dallas versus Atlanta. Atlanta jumped all over Dallas. I mean, if it could go wrong for the Cowboys in that first quarter, it did. They had a failed fourth down attempt. I know Cowboys fans had to be thinking, Mike McCarthy, what are you doing? But they stick to it. Atlanta goes up 20-0 after the first quarter. And then Dallas would cut into it a little bit, but still trailed 29-10 at halftime. But in the third quarter, Dallas would start to make the comeback, and they would cut into it. It cut the lead to 29-24. But then Atlanta answered, made it 39-24. But now during this time, Atlanta ran a wide receiver pass, and I think the receiver's name is Gage. Julio Jones was wide open, and that guy hit Julio in stride, and the ball just fell off of Julio Jones' hands. If Julio Jones catches that, that's a touchdown. And it's 46-24 rather than 39-24. The game's out of reach. Not to put it all on what's about to happen on Julio, but that was a big momentum swing. So, I really think that was a missed opportunity. And I forget the point that it happened in the game. It might not even have been when they were up. They might have only been up at a certain point. But either way, it cost the Falcons points. It cost them a touchdown. And those 6 points would have been the difference in the game. So, Dallas is down 39-34. Or 39-24 with less than 5 minutes to go. The Cowboys drive down. They score a touchdown. They go for two. They don't get it. It's 39-30. They force Atlanta to punt. They get the ball back. Drive down. Score again. It's 39-37. They've got a kick, that dreaded onside kick. Now, y'all have heard me complain about how much I hate the new onside kick rules. I think it's terrible, and it's almost a 1 in a million chance you're going to get it. Well, still can't believe it. Dallas executes this thing perfectly. That ball just rolls, and it's keep it going. And surprisingly, nobody from Atlanta is diving on the ball. It just keeps rolling. 5 yards, 6 yards, 8 yards, 10 yards. It's live. It's gone past. Cowboys jump on it. Cowboy football. And, I might be exaggerating a little bit, but I can't be exaggerating that much, because the Cowboys are not allowed to overload that side anymore. There were just as many Falcons as there were Cowboys. And it's like the Falcons were waiting on it to go 10 yards too. I mean, what? I digress. Dallas recovers the onside kick. That gets them into field goal range. Nails it. Game-winning field goal. Dallas wins 40-39. Amazing game. I don't know if that game is going to be topped this year. Um, it was a great game to watch. I really enjoyed it. Really just made it feel like, oh, football is back. Um, I know a lot of people, and hey, I support everybody's right not to want to watch because of the kneeling. And I understand completely. If you watched my rant about the NBA and LeBron and how I felt about them, I understand completely. And believe me, I do. But it's games like this that, should remind people of why we love the NFL and why we love sports. And even though these athletes might tick us off with their goofy opinions, we don't have to take them to heart. And we may not share their values and their opinions, but maybe one day they'll see how lucky they truly are to play this great game.